All right, what is up, my friends? Welcome to the Modern Horizons 2 complete set review. Every card constructed, limited, best in show for each color. We are now on the multicolored cards. We've done white, blue, black, red, and green. Anything you missed on the YouTube, go check that out. Mog Monday next Monday against Aspiring Spike. Check that out. And then 10 New Brews Modern Edition. 10 Modern Leagues with New Brews. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, live on stream next week. And of course on YouTube as well. That's right. Also brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, by Insight Esports, by Call Us Apparel, and by BCW Supplies, my great sponsors. Check them all out. And let's get going here. We got to keep rolling. Our first card is Arcbound Shaqiri. This is a red, white, and 1 for a modular creature. It's a first striker. When it comes into play, put a counter on each other artifact creature you control, modular 2. Sort of the modular lord. This is your sort of signpost uncommon for red and white. Every color pair tends to have a signpost uncommon to let you know what they're all about. And this is it. Red and white has a ton of modular cards. Modulars are a great mechanic. Very, very powerful. There's proliferate stuff. There's counter stuff everywhere. This is going to be like your linchpin uncommon for sure for modular decks. Super, super powerful card. Not good enough for constructed, obviously, but very solid card. Up next, we have Arcus Acolyte. Lesnia for a 2/2, the Reach and Lifelink, which are both pretty powerful abilities. Has the Outlast ability, a real popular one from Tarkir. You pay a mana, tap it, and put a +1/+1 counter on it, but only as a sorcery. So it kind of has like the little tap effect of Hangerback Walker, all the good parts of it. But in a stalled board state, the ability to like grow your creature is kind of cool. It also gives each other creature you control without a counter on it the ability to add a counter. Now, that's the important part because there's a lot of counter synergy, of course, in green and white. And this allows all of your non-counter creatures to become counter creatures. Pretty cool. Very solid 2-drop here. I mean, a 2/2 lifelink here for 2 is already good enough because that's a very good card in limited. So the ability to grow, it's got potential. I always say in limited it's very important for cards that can scale up well as the game goes on. If the board stalls, this does that. So not super exciting, but pretty solid limited uncommon. Up next we have Assa Darkness. What?
Somebody's playing a prank on me.
Not even trying. I'm not even trying here. And whatever testicular something here is the name. Legendary creature, human wizard. It is red and black. Asmo works for me. As long as you've discarded a card this turn, you may pay 1 to cast this spell. So red or black. That's pretty cool, honestly. So it has like sort of like pseudo madness in a way. When Asmo enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a card named the Underworld Cookbook, reveal it, put it in your hand, and then shuffle. And you can sacrifice 2 foods to have target creature to deal 6 damage to itself. It fed it the bad food. You get it? You get it? So yeah, definitely right off the bat, just like discard a card, pay 1 mana, get a 3/3 is kind of cool. We haven't seen Underworld Cookbook yet, so I'll have to look at that a little bit later. It makes foods, I know. I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head, but I mean, it is a 1 mana legend. You know, like, it's pretty hard to, like, play because you have to discard a spell to cast it. But, yeah, I don't know. It has no mana cost. You can't cast it otherwise. So, just a really weird, cute meme card. You can Vial this on 0, which is really cool. So, I could definitely see a possible, like, red-black, sacrificey, Manasy deck playing Aether Vial and playing this. Pretty gross to play Vial and then immediately Vial this in. That is a very cool synergy. And Street Wraith. That's a good one too. Look at the brewing happening in chat right now. So you get the Street Wraith on 1 and cast this for a Wild Nicottle. That's pretty good too. So definitely potential here. It's cheap and efficient, and that's big. So what will this card do? I'm not really sure. It's a very confusing card, but already got some good ideas for it, which is pretty great. Moving on to Breathless Knight. Black, white, 1, 2/2 flying lifelink. Already reasonably solid. When it or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, if that creature enters the battlefield from a graveyard or you cast it from the graveyard, put a counter on Breathless Knight. So The reanimation seems to be the theme of black white, and 2/2 flying lifelink for 3 is pretty good. I mean, Windrake isn't very good, but lifelink is really good, so you can buy that. And if you ever get a counter on this in limited, you are in phenomenal shape. Phenomenal shape. So solid draft comment for sure. Very archetypical, very much in the archetype, but cool card. Cool card. Up next is Captured by Legax. Adorable. Green, white, and 1. Enchant creature. Pacifism. And when it enters the battlefield, support 2. This card is really good. So Pacifism usually costs 2 in limited. It's usually a pretty high pick. But this also gives you 2 +1/+1 counters on 2 creatures. So for Saddleback Legac was a really good card in that draft format. This is like that and a pacifism at the same time. It's also an enchantment too. So this card fits in a lot of different things. +1/+1 counter synergy, enchantment synergy, it's removal. Just a good card. Great common. I'm sure this is one of the best commons in green and white. Just phenomenal card. Very, very good draft card. Pretty awesome. Up next is Karth the Lion. Green, black 2, legendary creature, human warrior. 3/5, so decent stats. Whenever Karth the Lion enters the battlefield or a planeswalker you control dies, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may reveal a planeswalker card from among them and put it to your hand, put the rest in the bottom of your library in random order. Planeswalker's loyalty abilities you activate cost an additional +1 to activate. So, like, you just get to add... Basically, whenever you activate a planeswalker ability, you get an additional loyalty kind of thing. This card's cute and all, but it's kind of weird where, like, this card, a 4-mana planeswalker enabler is not where you want to be in Modern. And then in Limited, there just aren't any planeswalkers. So, feels like a commander card. You just can't imagine playing 4-mana for a setup card in Modern. Just not good enough, but kind of a cute card. If this card was like a 2-mana 1/1 or a 2-mana 1/2 or something like that, we'd be talking. We'd be talking big time, but this is basically just a commander card. So it's fun. And then Limited, like, you just darn crappy planeswalkers in your deck. So, yeah, planeswalker, sure, but, like, it's not particularly good. A 3/5 for 4 is reasonable, but... Up next is Chrome Courier. Blue, white, 1/1 flyer. Comes into play, reveal the top 2 cards of your library, put 1 in your hand other than the graveyard. You put an artifact card in the graveyard display, gain 3 life. Pretty solid card here. Pretty similar to like the usual like artifact comes into play, draw a card. Little selection here, little graveyard stuff, maybe a little life gain. Good target for modular counters. It's a reasonable draft common if you're in the artifact-y blue-white deck. Nothing crazy. Combine Chrysalis is next. Blue-green artifact. Tokens you control have flying. And pay 4, tap, sack a token, make a 4/4 beast as a sorcery. This is like your signpost uncommon for tokens matter. So whether it's a squirrel or a clue or a food, being able to turn a food to a 4/4 is really, really good. Really good. And that's just awesome. Honestly, that's just a really powerful card. So definitely a very good card for Limited. Churning out 4/4s is awesome. It's cheap enough. It's an artifact. And giving your 4/4 flying is great too. All your squirrels flying. So very, very solid draft card. If you're the blue-green token deck, this is the card that you want. Up next is Dakon, Shadow Slayer. Espermana for a 3-mana planeswalker. Enters the battlefield with a number of loyalty counters on him equal to the number of lands you control. So kind of cool. It's a 3-mana planeswalker that scales as the game goes on. So on turn 6, you have 6 lands in play and add a 6 loyalty, which is pretty good. +1 Surveil 2, which is okay. It's fine. You know, it's not a great plus, but for a 3-mana planeswalker is certainly reasonable. -3 to exile a target creature. So worst case scenario, this can just be like 3-mana exile a creature, but it can do better than that for sure. And then -6, you put an artifact card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield. That was a little weird, because paying Espermana for a planeswalker in an artifact deck feels pretty weird. So Ultimate's kind of weird, but Surveil, kill creature, Surveil, kill creature is reasonable. Pretty high loyalty. Don't know if I'm really seeing it in Modern, honestly. Busted and Limited. Just play it on turn 5 or 6 and just start killing creatures. But it's okay. Cool art. Definitely cool art. Not super exciting. Dahalda's Ploy. Black, green, 1, instant. Draw 2 cards, then discard a card. You gain life equal to the number of cards you discarded this turn. And it has jumpstart, which of course this is the mechanic that requires you to discard cards, which is cool. So, cool common, cool graveyard stuff, obviously. Good card as the game goes on, because later in the game, you just draw a land, discard your land to jumpstart, draw 2 cards, discard a land. So, pretty sweet, grindy common for your Dimir graveyard deck. Jumpstart's a very good mechanic limited. It just turns lands into spells, which is awesome. So, cool card. Cool card. Cool synergy with the discard stuff. You know, it seems like the green, blue, black synergy stuff is all about discarding things. So, really cool card. Feels almost like a signpost on common, but it's a common. So, kind of a cool card. Up next is Drekeeper, which is a green, black, and 3 for an elf druid that costs, it's a 2/2 for 5. Comes into play, make 2 squirrels. So, deranged hermit-esque. Pay 4 mana to give all your squirrels +1/+0 and menace. So the finisher for your squirrel deck. You have a few squirrels in play, it's pretty good. Even by itself, 5 mana for 2/2 and 2/1/1s is certainly reasonable. You probably want more squirrels in your deck, but pretty solid card here. Not crazy, but solid. Solid common. Aether Sworn Sphinx. 9 mana. White, blue, 7. Affinity for artifacts. Love affinity. Has flying and cascade. Flying and cascade on a 9-drop. So a pretty wide range of cards you can get off this thing. Again, if you're playing an artifact deck in blue and white in draft, this card seems super sweet. If you can cast this for like 5 mana or less, I think you're making out really, really well. 4/4 flyer for 5, very reasonable. You need artifacts. This is definitely a synergy card for your artifact deck, but if you got the artifacts, card's pretty awesome. And Cascade, very powerful. Pretty wild, you know, what you're going to Cascade into, but it could be anything. It could even be a boat, right? Foundry Helix is next. Red, white, and 1, instant. Sack a permanent to deal 4 to any target. If sacrifice permanent is an artifact, you gain 4 life. Phenomenal draft card. So, of course, as we saw, all of the red and white stuff is all about modular, right? So, all your creatures, whenever they die, move counters around. This card's busted. It's an instant, so you're in combat. You get to sack your modular creature, pump your other modular creature, deal 4 to a creature, and gain 4 life. Phenomenal. Phenomenal draft common. Really, really good. Really, really good. And again, even if you're not modularing, you just sack a land to this, it's not that bad. You know, it's not good, but it's not that bad. So, yeah, very, very powerful card. Top tier common. Super awesome. Up next is Garth. Party on, Garth. Garth, 1-eye. One of the most divisive cards in the set. White, blue, black, red, green for a 5/5 legend. Sure. This is like the original character from like Shanlar or something like that, or like one of the original Magic books. I don't freaking know. It's something old. And you get to tap Garth to cast a legendary, not legendary, an iconic, I'll say, iconic card from Magic's history. So you can cast Disenchant. Of course, the white one sucks, of course. Brain Geyser, Terror, Shivan Dragon, Regrowth, or Black Lotus. Make a copy of a card. You may cast the copy. It's important to note that does the copy have a mana cost? I think I guess it does, actually, because it's a copy of the card. And very fun card. People were saying, like, you know, the reserve list. Oh my god, my pearls. Shut up. This is a cool card. You know, whatever. Like, yeah, you're not playing this card to make a Black Lotus unless you're like using it brokenly. You know, it's a cool, fun card. It's cool that you can only do one of each. So you can't you're making Black Lotuses. So you can't like play this. You know, tap it, make a Lotus, untap it, tap, make a Lotus, untap it with some sort of combo or whatever. Which is pretty cool. Just a cool card. Just a fun card. Definitely, I can't imagine seeing this card having it see play in basically anything that's like a relevant format, but it's just cool. It's just a fun, cool card. Garth, party on, and then a limited. If you can cast this card limited, you win the game. Like, cast it, untap with it. You make a Shivan Dragon immediately, and then you untap again, Brain Geyser. That's insane. So, real cool card. Real cool card. I like it a lot. It's a hit for me. General Ferris Wake. Boros in 1 for a 3/1 with hexproof multicolored. If you cast a multi-card spell, make a 4/4. That's pretty good. My concern is like the initial casting of this card. It's a 3-mana 3/1 with no abilities, which is like pretty rough. You just bolt it, sneeze it, lava dart it, whatever. But making 4/4s is pretty powerful too. But I don't know. It's kind of cool. Probably doesn't make it instructed. Unless you have like stuff. I don't know. Hey, get bolt. Oh, I'm sorry. I misread it. I can read. I know good words. Sorry. I read it as hexproof from multicolored. It's hexproof from monocolored. This card's insane. Bingo. What do you want from me? Alright? I can't read. So yes. The word multicolored is directly below the word monocolored. So, just saying. I'm just saying. You gotta get all up. I can't even talk anymore. Take a breath, Jim. Take a drink. Take a drink. It's okay. It's okay.
Make a little noise here, huh? Come on, I can't hear you.
Okay. Back to this card. This card's really freaking good. Yeah, I mean, if you make one token off this card, it's insane. And this card, Hexer from multicolored, is pretty freaking sweet. In combat, it's not great, and you need to have, obviously, other multicolored cards that you want to cast as well. But, it's a pretty good card. It's a pretty good card. Where does it go is a good question. And, like, what multicolored cards are you playing with it? You can't go down on card quality too much, but it's a cool card. It's pretty cool. Burn Tree Emissary. Like, Burn Tree 4/4, Burn Tree 4/4, Burn Tree 4/4. Ren 6 still kills it. That's very true. Yeah, things kill it. Abrupt Decay, Lightning Helix, so on and so forth. Nib to Light, maybe. I don't know. It's a weird card. It's a very powerful card, though. It is a very powerful card. Yeah. I mean, yeah, busted in limited. Better than Monastery Mentor. It's different. It's different. If you play this and get one token off it and it dies, you're way up. If you play Mentor and get one token and it dies, you're like, it's okay. But yeah. Yeah, I've seen some domain zoo list this card for sure. Plays really well with Ignoble Hierarch for sure, or just regular Noble Hierarch. Cast it on turn 2, kind of go off on turn 3. But yeah, very powerful card. Definitely very powerful card. Very vulnerable to Lava Dart and Ren 6. Not Lava Dart, sorry. Ren 6, Plague Engineer. I don't freaking know. I'm done. I'm not going to talk anymore. The card's really good. I can't say that. Gaedrone Dahalda. Grixis Planeswalker. Red, black, blue, 1. Grixis Planeswalker. Protection from permanents with corruption counters on them. Pretty fun static ability. +1. Each opponent loses 2 and you gain 2. And put a corruption counter on up to one other creature or planeswalker. So it protects itself, which is kind of cool. And draining for 2 is very real for a plus. It's kind of cool. -3. Gaining control of target creature or planeswalker in the line of turn. I'm good. Sorry. Gaining control of target creature or planeswalker in the line of turn. Untap it, put a corruption counter on it, and it gains haste in the line of turn. So it can threaten and corrupt things. Obviously, studying planeswalkers is busted, but. And then -7, gaining control of each permanent with a corruption counter on it. So, kind of cool. More of like a fun card than a good card. It's obviously pretty cool to play it. Corrupt your thing, steal all the things. That's pretty sweet. But I don't know. It's more of a fun card than a good card. Busted and limited, of course. I don't know. It's kind of cool. Yeah, it's a little sub game for sure. Definitely a very creative way to have a planeswalker protect itself, but like for a 3-color planeswalker that costs 4, the bar is insanely high. I don't think it crosses the bar constructed. So it's cool. It's a fun card. Moving on to Goblin, a Narcomancer, and this card's pretty exciting. Red and a green for a Goblin. Each spell you cast that's red or green costs 1 less to cast. It's 2/2. So Goblin Electromancer, but for all red and green spells. That's pretty powerful. This card is passable in Goblin decks as like a ramp creature. Making Matron and Ringleader cost less is awesome. It's passable in Storm decks, making Pyretic Ritual and stuff cost less. Could possibly see maybe like Storm moving away from blue, maybe, like with Abundant Harvest, things like that, which is kind of cool. Pretty powerful card, honestly. What is the home for this? Not sure. I mean, it makes Stone Rain cost less, but like it's still cast on turn 3, so it doesn't really matter, But definitely a very cool card. I don't know if it's good enough for goblins, but it could certainly open up Storm decks in some way. I mean, Muxus ain't legal, but it would be good with Muxus for sure. It's a cool card. It's a cool card. Very good limited, because a lot of the red-green stuff's all about like Storm and stuff like that. This card is really, really good. Like, the Familiar cycle from Planeshift saw tons of play. Like the 0/3 wall that made blue and black spells cheaper, blue and green spells cheaper, or whatever. Very good. So, yeah, it's a Emerald and Ruby Medallion together. Good and Pauper. Just a good card. Just a pretty good card. Goblin Storm. Maybe Fecundity Goblins with this card. Maybe. One Mana Metamorphose. Absolutely. So, card super sweet. Card super sweet. Just 1 second, folks. All right, sorry. Sinuses are just not happy. Up next is Graceful Restoration. 5 mana sorcery, black and white. Choose one. Whichever creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a counter on it. Or return 2 creatures with power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So here's your like signpost Orzhov uncommon. Reanimation stuff, super cool. 5 mana reanimation, you get a counter. Little bonus is kind of cool. Reanimate 2 small things, pretty cool also. Just a solid draft card. Pretty cool. Oh boy, Grist the Hunger Tide. Ooh. Not quite. This card is pretty wild. This is the only planeswalker in all of Magic that is considered a creature. So, green, black, 1, 3 loyalty. +1, make an insect, then mill a card. If you mill an insect, repeat the process. So most of the time, this is +1, make a token. That's pretty good, though. That's pretty good. -2, sack a creature. If you do, destroy a creature or planeswalker. That's really good, too. That's really, really good. And then -5, each opponent loses life equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. This is a very good planeswalker. This is the kind of card you can cast off Ignoble Hierarch on turn 2, realistically. Makes tokens, which is insane. It can kill things. A little bit like Duretti. Like a good Duretti from a Commander or whatever. He's playing Cube and stuff. And the coolest thing is, you can company into it, which is freaking awesome. You can company into it. You can Court a Calling for it or whatever. And that's really cool. This card's really, really good. Very, very good. Could see plans for like sacrificey stuff. Power level is very, very high, but also very fun. If you mill more copies of it, you get more insects or whatever. Super cool. You can unearth it. Yeah, like a lot of really cool stuff happening here. Very, very cool card. I like it a lot. Very close to best in show. I don't know actually what the best in show is. I forgot. We'll get to that, I guess. But real good card. Really powerful. Really awesome. Absolutely busted and limited. Just like busted and limited. But definitely has a good chance to see playing constructed. This feels like a Wrenn and 6 done right. Where it's like a really powerful, really efficient planeswalker that couldn't see play in standard, but I think this is like really, really good. I like it a lot. Super cool. Big fan. Big fan of this card. Up next is Last Top Chancellor. Blue-black for a 1/3. Whenever you discard a card, you may pay 1. If you do, amass 2. So here's your signpost uncommon for blue-black. It's all about discarding cards. Very powerful card. You get 1 token of this, you're way ahead, and then it only goes on. Yeah, amass, right? Just a weird, obscure mechanics. Up next is Lowness, Cryptozoologist, blue and green for a rare Snake Elf Scout. 1/2. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, investigate. Tap and sacrifice X clues. Target opponent reveals the top X cards of your library. You may put a non-land permanent card with mana value X or less among them onto your battlefield under your control. That player puts the rest of them on the bottom of their library in a random order. That is a lot of freaking words on this card. Obviously, making your creatures investigate is kind of cool, but by itself, this is a 1/2. Doesn't do anything, which is pretty damning, honestly. And then you need a whole bunch of clues to make the tap ability reasonable. It's cool, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's hard to play in Modern, but seems underpowered for a Simic card. I know, right? Yeah, I mean, kind of fun, kind of cool. I don't know. Good limited card for sure. Like really good limited card. Like, insane limited card. Is blue-green cares about tokens. So, yeah. Next up is the Master of Death. Black, blue, 1 for a 3/1. Comes into play Surveil 2. Beginning of your upkeep, if it's in the graveyard, you may pay 1 life to return it to your hand. This card's really freaking good. Really, really good. 3/1 that comes into play Surveil 2 is already like okay. But this is like a super, super squee effect where you can keep getting it back. You can get it back, discard it, get it back, discard it. That's really, really cool. Kind of like the squee effect, but like it's also a castable card. You know, squee is often seen play in decks that can never cast it, just as a way to keep discarding over and over again. This does that, but like a lot better, which is really cool. So, cool card for sure. Plays into the mechanic of Dimir set pretty well. Not sure exactly what deck wants this, but insane and limited, and then maybe a home and constructed. Maybe. We'll see. Cool card, though. Cool card. Moderation. Everything in moderation. 1 second, sorry. I thought my allergies are good. Apparently not. Moderation. Blue, white, 1. Enchantment. You can't cast more than 1 spell a turn. Whenever you cast a spell, draw a card. Super awkward. Kind of similar to the Teamer enchantment in whatever set that was, where it was like play a spell, draw a card, or draw 2, but you got to discard your hand every turn. Just like a really, really awkward tension in the card. You could obviously like, I don't know you do this card, honestly. Ikoria, whatever, sure. Really, really weird. I'm not sure what you do with this card. It's obviously kind of cool, like, cast spell on their turn, draw a card, cast spell on your turn, play land. Just, I don't really know, honestly. I mean, it could be cool with, like, extra land effects. If you're trying to, like, get around and casting spells by just playing cool lands, that could be a thing. It's a very difficult build around, but it is pretty powerful, too. It's cute. What do you do with it? I'm not sure. You know, there's no real downside to it, like, as far as, like, you know, not drawing. Like, if you, like, skip your draw step or something like that, it'd be, like, you know, devastating, but can certainly keep the cards flowing. I don't know. You can obviously, like, try and get around by, like, cycling, or say you have, like, effects that discard cards for value. Could be a thing, too. Shark Typhoon, perfect. You know, draw lands. There's things you can do with this card for sure. Definitely a cool card. Cool build around. Probably not good enough for Modern, but pretty fun build around. Pretty cool card. Probably wouldn't play this card in Limited, though. Aether Vial, sure. It's kind of cool. The problem is, like, you're just spending 3 mana to do nothing in Modern for a turn. And that's, like, not really good enough. So, we'll see. Up next is Piru, the Volatile. We have a callback to the original Elder Dragons with the, you know, black, white, red, 2 mana cost. All those cards are pretty terrible. This one has a 7/7 flying lifelink. Has the Elder Dragon text of gotta pay 1 of each color to keep it. When it dies, it does 7 damage to each non-legendary creature. So, pretty cool card, because a 7/7 lifelink for 8 mana is not amazing, but solid. But when it dies, deals 7 to everything, and it has lifelink. So this thing dies, and it deals 7 to 7 different things, and do the math. It's a lot of freaking, a lot of life gain too, which is kind of cool. So, kind of cool is like a Gora's Vengeance. I said exiles it. Like some way to like sneak attack this card or whatever, which is kind of cool. So, fun card. Probably not super great in anything serious, but kind of a cool, fun card. Yeah, nothing's too crazy here. In limited, I mean, you can reanimate it in limited, which is kind of cool. If you just like reanimate it and then it just dies the next turn, that might just be good enough. You're just gonna like wrath the board and gains 28 life or whatever, which is kind of cool. So through the breach, like just play Emrakul. You know, like if there's like the thing is that there's just like better things to do in Modern than this card. So it's a fun card. Fun card. Priest of Fellwrights, black white for a 2/2, rare. Pay 3, sacrifice it to reanimate a creature. Only as a sorcery though. That's pretty powerful. That's a pretty powerful effect. Then it has Unearth. So for 5 mana, bring it back, unearth it, reanimate a creature. This card's pretty cool. This card's pretty cool. You know, it's certainly very castable. Is it good enough for Modern? Probably not. You know, probably not. But super cool limited card. Fun card in general. The fact that this has Unearth is really cool because your opponents will want to kill it on the spot. So on turn 5, you can just get it back and just do it again anyway, which is really cool. So very fun card. Very fun card. Again, probably not good enough for Modern, but great limited card. Super fun. Pretty weird it's not a cleric. I agree. Definitely it feels very cleric-y. And the art is really cool. I like the art of this card a lot. Just like cool, really cool colors. Up next is Prophetic Titan. 6 mana, 4/4. Is it giant wizard? Delirium. So you got to have Delirium to make this card work. When it comes into play, choose one. If there are 4 more, I'm sorry, not you don't have to have Delirium. If there are 4 more cards, you can choose both instead. This is just Prophetic Bolt on a 4/4. Great draft card. A 4/4 that comes into play to deal 4 things is great. 4/4 that impulses is great. If you have Delirium, oh boy. Oh boy, that is that's something else. So powerful draft card here. Kind of a fun giant. Cool card. Cool card. Up next is Rakdos Headliner. This card's really good. Black and red for a haste creature. 3/3. So you get Boggart Ramgang for 2 mana. That's great. Echo, discard a card. So if it lives, they didn't kill it, you can discard a mana discard or a Bloodghast or whatever you want. This card's good. The rate is there. We've seen this card before a number of times. Just not be good enough. Things like Hidden Horror or what's the name of the card? It's like the Minotaur 4/3 from Amonkhet. It's like a 4/3 for 2. Where like you're getting a pretty big creature at the downside of discarding a card. And like they're cool for graveyard stuff, but like not good enough. I think this one might be good enough. Again, 3/3 haste for 2 is really good. And then it has to live, and you get Echo and discard it. Phenomenal draft card. You madness anything off this, you're so far ahead. And then I think it is reasonably playable and constructed. Good enough for Modern. I mean, we'll see. You know, if this is a standard card, it'd be freaking bonkers. But good enough for Modern, maybe. Maybe. Discarding a Bloodghast if this is pretty awesome. Or any Madness card. You know, we'll see. But should be a Goblin. Yeah, right? Why isn't it a Goblin? Come on now. Come on. Pitching Rootwalla, sure, pretty cool. So possible Madness stuff. I mean, the red Arrogant Orm is legal in Modern. That card's pretty cool. Although it's a turn off. But discarding Bloodghast, stop. What's wrong with Bloodghast? So, I don't know. Cool card. I like it a lot. Great limited card. Has a chance in Modern. Has a chance. Up next, Ravenous Squirrel, which is a Golgari hybrid card. And 1 mana, 1/1. If you sack an artifact or a creature, you put a counter on Squirrel. And you can pay 3, sack an artifact or a creature, and gain 1 and draw a card. This is a really solid archetype card for limited. You will turn your squirrels and clues into cards, and life is awesome. It gets bigger. Card's sweet. It also triggers for other sacrifices. So if you just sack a clue and draw a card, it gets bigger, which is kind of cool. Card's sweet. Card's sweet. Yeah, it's cool with Cat Oven. Sure. Oh, it's good enough for Modern, but just a very solid 1-drop. Great draft card. Fun card. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Ravenous Squirrel. Road to Ruin. Got to get one Aftermath card in this set, right? Got to hit every mechanic in Magic's history. You haven't done it right. So Road to Ruin, 3 mana for an instant. Search for a library for a basic land card. Put on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. So 3 mana rampant growth, instant speed, not very good. Ruin is red 1. Cast from your graveyard. Deals damage to target creature equal to the number of lands you control. It's a good draft card, but that's really it. That's really it. Storm God's Oracle. Blue-red 1, 1/3. Pay 1 to pump it. When it dies, bolt something. I mean, it's okay. It's an enchantment creature, which is kind of cool, so it's good for Delirium, but it seems like just like an okay draft card. Nothing super exciting, just fun. Sithis Harvest Hand. This is one of your big enchantment effects. So, 2 mana Enchantress here. Green, white for a 1/2. If you cast an enchantment spell, gain 1 life and draw a card. That's really good. That's really good. 2 mana Enchantress. Of course, it is vulnerable to everything, which is a concern. But it's also an enchantment itself, which is super cool. Again, Agathorian Enchantress would have been like the real winner. That's an 0/2 Enchantress Fetish Shroud. So, it's a little vulnerable, but very powerful. If it lives, you're going to go nuts. You know. So, there's a lot of tools here for like a Prison-y Enchantress deck in Modern. Will come together. We'll see. But the tools are there. And then, yeah, Commander, this is like a perfect Commander card. It's like the good Commander for sure. Cool card. Limited, probably not. Doesn't seem to be enough Enchanter stuff at common and uncommon and limited, but yeah. Pretty powerful Commander. Terminal Agony is next. 4 mana, sorcery, kill creature, madness, green, black, or yeah, red, black. Great draft card, obviously. You can madness is instant speed for a terminate with extra value. That's very, very powerful. So great draft common. Sorry, but my allergies have been like really, really bad the last like minute. Just gotta give me a minute here, folks. Look at this really powerful card and decide if it's to be best in show or not. Sciences are on fire. I'm good. You know what else is on fire? Freaking Territorial Kavu. Whiskey, resub. Thanks so much. Red-green. Domain. Power and toughness equal to the number of basic land types among lands you control. So that's pretty good. It's not hard to make us a 5/5, honestly. Domain Zoo, of course, was a very popular deck a long time ago. Playing things like Tribal Flames and Fetches and Shocks, stuff like that. And, excuse me. So this is not hard to make a 5/5. And then whenever it attacks, you can rummage a card, which is great. Or you can exile a card from a graveyard. So a little bonus value on the attacks. For the most part, there's just a 2 mana 5/5. Card sweet, honestly. Very, very good. Very close to best in show. Just a really, really solid card. Gonna see a good amount of play for sure. Very, very solid card. And limited is phenomenal. Worst case, limited is a freaking 2/2, right? Which is totally fine. Just a very, very powerful card. Domain Zoo is back on the menu, folks. Tribal Flames, get your Tribal Flames. And very solid card. Up next is Wave Sifter. Clue Drifter, if you will. 5 mana for a 3/2 flyer. Comes into play, investigate twice, and evoke. Great draft common. Just phenomenal draft common. Super awesome. Does Kavu count wastes? Yes. Judge? Does Domain count wastes as a 6 type? Waste has no land type? I guess not then. So yeah. Great draft common. Really, really good draft common. Just really, really good. It's also 2 mana to make 2 permanents for your treasure stuff. So pretty good draft common. Up next is Yuzri, Fortune's Flame. Red, black, and 1. Legendary creature of Freet. So 3/2 flyer for 3. Whenever it attacks, choose a number between 1 and 5. Flip that many coins. Oh my god. For each flip you win, draw a card. For each flip you lose, it deals 2 damage to you. If you won 5 flips this way, you may cast spells from your hand this turn without paying their mana costs. Does that mean, like, overall? Judge. So 5 flips this way, like, in this particular ability, or, like, over multiple turns? It's got to be, it's all one ability, so it has to mean just the ability, I would assume. All right, so it has to be in that. So you gotta run super hot, obviously. But yeah, I mean, this card's certainly cool. It's pretty fun. You know, like obviously, say you flip 4 coins and you take 4 and draw 2. That's a Sylvan Library activation or whatever. The thing is, like, what deck plays this card? This is a freaking 2/3 for 3. You know, it dies to bolt, dies to everything. It's a fun card. It's a cool card. It's certainly an interesting card, but I really struggle to find a deck that would actually want to play this card. Unless you're playing like freaking Arcstomp or something like stupid meme stuff, which is also totally reasonable too. But yeah, definitely amusing. Good draft card though. Good draft card. You know, just upside on a flyer. Moving on to the reprint cards. The multicolor reprints are at the end here. Chainer Nightmare Adept. This is a commander card. Rakdos 4-mana 3/2. Discard a card. You may cast a creature spell from your graveyard this turn once it turns. Obviously, Madness, pretty insane. And whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, if you didn't cast it from your hand, it gains haste. So all of your Madness cards and all of your cards cast in the graveyard will have haste, which is kind of cool. So this just feels like a plant for limited, honestly. It's like a really good Madness rare for your draft decks. Not doing much in other formats, but definitely a cool draft build around. Definitely the apex of your red black Rakdos deck, if possible, in draft. Moving on to Fire Ice. Be still, my beating heart. Now I gotta change the rules back so I can put goddamn Fire Ice on Icecrown Scepter, huh? Come on. I miss Icecrown Scepter. Classic card here. Fire Ice is awesome. It's not gonna see a ton of play in Modern, but it will see some play. It will. This card is very, very flexible. Kill a Noble Hierarch or two. You just, against Tron, just tap their land on turn 3, so they can't, or on turn 2, so they can't, or turn 3, they can't Tron you, you know? Very flexible card. Just very good in control decks. It just does a great job on both sides of the ball. Against control decks, you can tap lands, draw cards. Fire is a very reasonable card, too. You've never seen a card like this before. This is a split card, and basically you just choose to play one or the other. So you can play Ice, or you can play Fire. It's as simple as that. And, just a really classic, awesome, iconic card. I freaking love this card. Just super awesome. The rules changed. Back in the day, the CMC of this card the mana value, of this card used to be 2 and 2. So you could put it on Icecrown Scepter. They changed the rules, and now it isn't that anymore. It was one of the best cards for Scepter, obviously. It's super, super cool. But yeah, fun card. Very happy it's in the format. Great limited card. This card is going to see more play than you expect. For sure. Fioraris Wake enters the Modern format to not much applause, but it's here, I guess. I mean, fun old card from Standard. Fioraris Wake is probably about the 10th best Fioraris Wake in Modern right now. Just play freaking, what's it called? Nissa, Who Shakes the World. You know, whatever. I mean, just a relic of Magic's history. This being a mythic is pretty insulting, honestly, but what are you going to do? Shardless Agent enters the format as well, joining Bloodbraid Elf as a little Cascade duo. Now, of course, Agent saw a lot of play in Legacy, in Shardless bug decks that would try and cascade into Ancestral Visions. Very powerful card. Go with Tarmogoyf, go with Hymn of Torok. Of course, Hymn's not in the format, but solid card. And it's also a Cascader, too. So this card cascades into, things like Living End or whatever. Just a very, very solid card. You can play it fair. You can play it unfair. Not best in show. No, not best in show. But very solid card. Nothing crazy. Nothing unreasonable. Just a very solid, reasonable card. Without Brainstorm to set up the Ancestral, obviously much worse than in Legacy. Very, very true. Very, very true. That's Agent. Sterling Grove goes into your Enchantress deck to make everyone's life miserable. Find your pieces. Protect your pieces. I don't know what to say. Just like a really annoying Enchantress card, basically. That's all it really is. And then our last card. We saved the best for last, folks. Vindicate enters the Modern format. Black, white, 1. Destroy target permanent. This card is incredibly important. Best in show for multicolored. This card is going to change a lot. There's a lot of like mopey, black, white, fair, Stoneforge Mystic, etc. blah, blah, blah decks in Modern that just can't handle anything. You know, they're a little too slow, a little too non-interactive. And Vindicate gives them an out to everything, right? So now they have Stone Rain in their deck, but it can also kill a Jace. It can also kill a Karn. It can also kill a Tarmogoyf, kill Liliana, whatever, kills everything. The flexibility of Vindicate's unbelievable. And Vindicate is held back in Legacy by Wasteland and Daze and cards that make playing a 3-mana sorcery not super ideal. Those cards don't exist in Modern. And that makes Vindicate really, really good. We're talking like the possible return of Abzan, mid-range as a deck, black-white. This card's phenomenal if you're going to build the Grief Ephemerate deck. This card's phenomenal. I think Vindicate is just off the charts good. And another nail in the coffin of Tron, kind of. Not coffin, but, you know, just very good against Tron. Don't think you're playing a control deck with this card, like Esper Control, but like Abzan mid-range, Orzhov mid-range, just like sort of like fair mid-range decks. This card does everything. With the biggest thing being Stone Rain against bad matchups. That's huge. You know, like these decks use the board in Fulminator Mage against Tron. Hard to cast bad Stone Rain. This is insanely good Stone Rain, you know? So Vindicate, best in show. I don't think it's close. This card's going to have a huge impact in the format. Absolutely huge hit impact. Yeah, Mardu, Pyromancer, stuff like that. Just really, really good. Nahiri Boom going Mardu? Probably not. That'd be too bad. But just an insanely powerful card. And again, a lot of the shortcomings this card has in Legacy are not present in Modern. And that's a big, big deal. Big, big deal. Vindicate is huge. Best in show. Not close. And that's it for Multicolor, folks. So all YouTube folks, like, comment, subscribe. All YouTube folks, please take a second. Let me know what you think best in show is. Leave a comment. It's free support. It helps me out a ton. It's super, super easy to do. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, all the things. And check out the other videos, obviously. We have an entire set review if you missed any of it. White, blue, black, red, green, all done. Multicolor is done here. We're about to do colorless next. Let's look for that one as well. And I love you, YouTube. Thanks for the support. Appreciate it. Have a good one.